Thanks so much, Tom. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to our graduation. We're so excited to show you what we've been working on for the past 2.5 weeks. We created a multiplayer web app, which emulates the most timeless game ever created in human history, Truth or Dare, with a modern party game twist on it. So first, let's meet the team. I'm Emma, I'm an Army veteran, and I will be guiding you through our demo.
Hi, I'm Tim. I'm an Army veteran, and I'm going to cover the game's target market and use case.
Hi, I'm Brittany. I'm a Marine Corps veteran, and I'll be covering our game rules.
Hi, I'm Jarrett. My wife is an Air Force reservist, and I'll be covering the architecture of our app.
Hi, my name is Michael, and I'm a Marine Corps veteran. I will be going over some of the top features and challenges of the app.
Hi, I'm Julius, and I'm also a Marine Corps vet. I worked on building our app's React front end with Michael and Britt, and I'll go over our project scope and design philosophy. Our goal with Truth or Dare was to create an experience that is as much a game as it is a social media app. Its conception is in some ways a response to the pandemic because it challenges both the limitations COVID places on us and the anxiety that creates. Truth or Dare accomplishes this by rewarding us for discovering, engaging, and confiding in one another. So how do we do this? We provide a virtual space for friends, family, colleagues, and coworkers to connect and interact with the added incentive of play. We provide online real-time peer-to-peer video and audio conferencing for up to 4 players. We utilize anonymous user authentication to keep players' virtual spaces private and safe. So unlike most modern social media tools, Truth or Dare does not collect any user data. And finally, we stimulate play through an intuitive and responsive user interface and a clean set of visuals accented with fun and inviting colors by utilizing style and animation libraries like Rebase and Greensock Animation Platform, or GSAP for short. By using these libraries, we were able to easily style our app to capture how Truth or Dare is timeless, that it's a game that can be played anywhere and by anyone. To elaborate on our target audience, I'll pass it off to Tim.
Thanks, Julius. The target market for our app is 20 to 30-year-olds seeking to remotely connect to have fun. They'll likely be working from home as so much of the country is right now. None of the cards are inappropriate for younger demographics, but some of the content may be less relatable to younger generations, such as the early 2000s pop music references. That said, the gameplay is simple enough to be accessible to anyone with a web browser, from your tech-savvy younger siblings to your Luddite aunt. You simply enter your name and click to find a game, where you're matched with 3 players and the fun commences. I'm happy to introduce Britt, who will explain the rules of the game.
Thank you, Tim. So in order to play a game of Truth and Dare, you will need 4 players. Once all 4 players are ready, 1 player will be set to the hot seat, while the remaining 3 will be judgment players. During each round, the judgment players will select 1 card from their hand for the hot seat player to perform. In order to accumulate points, the hot seat player must play 1 card from the hand before the timer runs out. If the hot seat player beats the clock, the remaining players will vote on whether the hot seat player deserves points, and this process will be repeated until a winner is declared. Now, I will hand it back to Emma, who will walk us through our video.
So before we get started with the game, I wanted to give you all a tour of our user interface. Almost everything you see here is data stored in our database that is being manipulated through logic in the front end, depending on what is going on in the game. So if you look at the top here, we have a round counter, and that will increment as the rounds advance. On the right here, this is a static component, but this will toggle the rules. So when you click on it, a box with the rules will appear, and when you click off of it, the box will disappear. And you can access this at any point during the game. And below that, we see the beautiful, handsome faces of my fellow group members. They look so excited to be playing this game. And this gold circle here means that Tim will be the hot seat player for this round. Below the player avatars, we have the game messages. And these messages will kind of guide you through the game and provide guidance when you are unsure about what to do next. And below that, we will see the Truth or Dare cards that are played to the field. Each card will have a point value that is stored here in this circle. And You will also be able to see who played each card this round. On the very bottom, you will see the Show Hand button. And when you click this, it'll open your hand in the bottom part of your screen. And if you click outside of your hand, it will minimize it. And now that you know the general layout of our game, we will move into the gameplay. So I'll let my wonderful teammates take you through a round of our game.
Oh boy, I got a good hand. I got a good one for you, Julius.
Yeah, bring it on.
You ready, buddy?
Well, that's not so bad at all. For me, I just happen to have a bowl with me wherever I go.
Oh, there we go. That's what I wanted to see. It's my favorite color too, so I accept it.
Beautiful. I'll take it.
Once a card was selected, we went to the voting phase where Julius completed the dare by putting a bowl on his head. And after the timer ran out, it moved on to the next phase where it evaluates the votes. And since everyone voted yes, you could tell by the blue circles around their avatars, Julius's score was then incremented by 1, the point value of the card. And now we will move on to a later round and show you how this game ends. All right, so now we are at a later phase in the game. As you can see, Tim, the current hot seat player, has 9 points. He just needs 1 more point to win. And I think he'll be able to get it in this round. But there's also a wild card on the field. And a wild card is something that you can edit as you play the game, and you can type in whatever you want. And if the hot seat player feels daring enough, he or she or they can choose it. All right, let's see what happens next. I dare you to sing the hook to your favorite Britney song. Well, I don't think we should subject the audience to that kind of torture. So let's go ahead and just go through this last phase and end the game here.
What was it, Tim? What's the hardest thing you've ever done?
Code Platoon.
And now you see the timer running down. 3, 2, 1. Tim succeeded and gained 2 points. And it added it to his score. And Tim is the winner. And that concludes our demo. Now I'm going to pass it off to Jarrett, who will tell us more about the technical details of our project.
Thanks, Emma. Hi again, everyone. Now that you've seen the game in action, I'll quickly go over its high-level architecture. Since the game features rely heavily on real-time updates, we decided to build our project around 2 major components. 1, a cloud database that would be our source of truth during gameplay, and 2, a user interface that would be dynamic and mimic the experience of a card-playing game. We completed a research spike in the first week of our project and decided our best combination would be Cloud Firestore with React. Cloud Firestore provides a flexible NoSQL database, real-time update capabilities, and easy integration with React. We were already more familiar with React and knew we could easily style components using Rebase and animate with GSAP. The diagram on the next slide will show an example of our main gameplay functionality. So you can see there when player 1 clicks to play a card from their hand, the other player's UIs are immediately updated with that card in the shared field. All players' local apps have an on-snapshot method that detects changes to the shared field document in Firestore. So when there's a change, React uses hooks to update the player's local state and renders components so that the players can see the new card. So that covers the high-level app architecture. To discuss a couple of other features and challenges, I'll pass it off now to Michael.
Thanks, Jarrett. Our team was committed to writing clean, maintainable, and tested code. When working on a project with 6 individuals, there are a lot of branches that need to merge together into one polished product. That is why we set up a continuous integration pipeline with GitHub Actions and Cypress to run automated integration tests every time we push code. These checks would lint our code and, most importantly, prevent pushing code with breaking changes, as well as give us a visual notification that all checks had passed before anyone even reviewed the code. By utilizing this workflow, we were able to be confident in our production branch's integrity and quickly fix problems before they turned up in our head branch. We also had a big decision to make on one of our stretch goals. We wanted our users to be able to rely solely on the application instead of utilizing a third party for audio and video capabilities, but it was a big lift. Utilizing the Twilio API and a Django backend, we were able to design an application that allowed them to see and hear each other when they were in the same game room. This proved to be a great addition to the application, but we had to be very careful to keep game state aligned with that room state. Ultimately, it provided an interactive and fun experience to everyone that plays our game. Thanks so much for checking out our project. And now we would love to open up the floor to your questions.
Awesome. Thank you, Truth or Dare team. We have several questions coming in. Roughly how many cards are in the main deck?
In the main deck right now, we have 30 truth cards, 30 dare cards, and 6 wild cards.
All right. Awesome.
For a total of 66 cards.
All right. And any plans for deck expansions based on certain themes?
That was an idea we threw around in the beginning. We even wanted to build in a deck editor and the option to have a deck with all wilds, so you can make up the game as you go with your friends. But that was more of a stretch goal, and we ended up settling on an MVP where the decks are set in the beginning.
Awesome. Why did you choose Cloud or the Firestore backend versus just like regular Firebase?
So Firebase evolved into Cloud Firestore, and now they have a real-time database, which used to be Firebase. And in the real-time database, which is old Firebase, you aren't allowed to create collections. You can only have documents in there. But with Cloud Firestore, you're allowed to create collections. And it functions kind of like your computer directory, where inside of a collection, you can store a bunch of documents. And then it also chains. So from a document, you can create another collection. And then it goes collection, document, as long as you'd want it to go.
Awesome. How did you determine who worked on the front end versus the back end, or did one individual do the whole stack based off of different features?
So Firestore was kind of my idea. So I paired with Jarrett for that, and we did a research spike, and it was a big learning curve because we had been working with Django for the past 8 weeks. But after about a week, I think Jared and I got the hang of it. And in the meantime, the other team was working on the front end and the styling with mocked up.
Awesome. What was the biggest technical hurdle you as a team had to overcome?
I think for this one, it was probably auto advancing the phases. So when you saw the game, it goes from like a play card phase, and then the hot seat player can select a card. And whenever these in-game actions happen that trigger a phase change, there's a function in the background that sees that phase change in the database and then runs a different function to execute the next part of the game. And a big problem here was that at first we didn't wrap it in a condition. So it would execute 4 times, once for each person in the room. And because of that, we had to find a condition that would allow that code to be only ran on one person's computer. So we used, we stored the local player, like who you are on your machine. And if you were the hot seat player on that local player state that we were tracking, then we would run it on your machine. But for a future version, I think it would be better to designate a host rather than have a rotating hot seat player that would execute all of the game functions in the background.
Awesome. Thank you. That concludes all the questions from YouTube and Zoom. Thank you, Truth or Dare.